Hello and welcome back to another episode of Boys Gone Wild. We're really cooking with gas now. We're fully made up in the new studio. This is the second episode. This isn't a special episode. I always say this is a special episode almost too much. I think I degrade what a special episode is. This is a run-of-the-mill. This is an everyday. This is a casual episode. To be honest, it's probably going to be better than most special episodes because the pressure's off. This is going to be standard. This is what you're going to expect. You know, I don't have a special guest on. I don't have anyone of interest. Like, I only have Andrew, who is filler for when I can't find a bigger guest. But I do actually have a lot of bigger guests lined up potentially over the next couple of weeks. I hope to get some big comedians. So Andrew will probably not get back on the podcast for another couple of months, which is exciting for everyone involved. Though I'm very happy with the setup, we're still adding to the studio. I think the light and using 4K with this gorge camera means that it actually can work against us in some ways, because I thought we both looked fucking dreadful in the last episode. I was very excited with how it looked, and then I was like, actually, it's upsetting to look at us. That's why I also had to remind you that it's available on Spotify. And there was more listens on Spotify for that episode than there has been in most episodes. And I understand why. Because if I was watching two men who looked like dried mango or like dried fruit in a fruit dehydrator, just looked awful. The lack of care that we put in to how we looked was quite rude, I felt, to the viewer. And I understand why you would have switched straight onto listening. Especially Andrew, to be honest. I looked bad, but Andrew really could not have given less of a fuck of how he looked. Truly drawn out. He looked old. It wasn't a good look. I've been producing BB and Jesse Cave's podcast, which is on YouTube now. It's very good. I would recommend watching it. And honestly, they have to do outfit change. They have to check. They make sure they look good. They look perfect. This is an embarrassment comparatively because we really look terrible. We look a bit better today, but yeah, welcome to the show, Andrew Cohen.
Thank you. I've put some trousers on today.
Yeah, it looks very good.
I've had a shower. I'm not hungover.
Yeah, that was genuinely...
Well, we went out the night before together, so we kind of rolled out in the morning and then just kind of scurried upstairs, and then that was the result of it. But there's something terrifying about seeing your face in 4K.
No one should have to see it.
The morning after, no one should
have to see it in 4K. Back in ancient Egypt...
They don't have to worry about these things.
They didn't, because the reason why there was
Has technology gone too far?
Has technology... Already, we've cracked it. Save it, Drew. They've not much on the...
Sorry.
Jesus. That's the big thing on the plan. Has technology gone too far? The 12-part series with Andrew Cohen and Horatio Gould. But in ancient Egypt, anxiety has been rising steadily. And I think one of the main reasons...
In ancient Egypt?
No.
Was that historical analysis?
No, that's in the parallel universe where ancient Egypt is the present. It's
and now,
going...
Since ancient Egypt, anxiety has been on the rise.
On the rise.
Since ancient Egypt.
Since ancient Egypt.
I think that's a fair comment.
Yeah, since then, people weren't anxious back then, but it's been steadily going up. And I think a big part of it, though probably the alienation of late capitalism might play a part, I'm still not convinced. I do think the 4K cameras revealing your backheads and your physical flaws are a huge reason for the increase in anxiety.
Yes, but not everyone does you need to distance yourself from everyone else because not everyone puts themselves in this situation on a weekly basis.
It's true. I act like I've been forced to do this, but it's very much by my own making. These are my life.
This isn't the natural trajectory since ancient Egypt that we all sit in our rooms and do podcasts.
Yeah, but in ancient Egypt they had all those wall paintings, and that's how you would. That's how one would. That's media back then. That's the podcast.
Yeah.
And it's like a shit drawing, which is like 3 lines of paint.
It's true.
It's not going to reveal your flaws, is it?
Speaking of appearances, we were. I think we can get the shot in now.
Yeah.
Of just when we were setting up the podcast, and there's a lovely angle of my nose, and my nose has been something that's plagued me for about I think 10 years now.
Sure.
10 years now, because one day I was at school, and at school there was this back stairwell. Sure. And there to this staircase, there were 3 separate stories.
Yeah.
Okay. But there was no gaps, there was no walls in between. You could walk all the way up and you'd be able to hear whatever. And I walked past a group of girls, 3 girls in the year below, who were having a bit of a gossip session, and it pricked my ears. You know,
Sure.
I got a bit interested by it. They were on the bottom.
Are they younger?
They're younger.
Classic. He's always listening in.
I'm not sure what you're trying to imply by that.
You're a paedophile.
onwards. Not in this climate, Horatio. So I then walked upstairs.
You're not a paedophile.
Did we have to clarify that?
Andrew is not a paedophile.
I just like listening to younger girls gossip.
Andrew is not a paedophile. Onwards to the story.
So they were gossiping downstairs about something, but I am interested in the young girls' gossip, not in anything else of the young girls.
Because
they were a year younger. They're only a year below. I'm not a paedophile. They were gossiping. I walked past. My ears were pricked.
Yeah.
I was interested. They tickled my fancy.
Sure.
Shit, don't say that.
No,
That's
that's
the
the
whole
right
thing.
I
They tickled
get what
my
you mean.
interest. They made me. I was interested in what they were talking about as human beings. They were talking about some interesting gossip.
Sure.
You're
not much of a snooper though. So
I'm not a snooper.
I snoop.
Well, I think this is why I'm not a snooper, because I thoroughly learnt my lesson. So they were on the bottom floor talking about some gossip that I was interested in. So then I kind of slowly walk up to the top floor and stop, lean on the railing, have a listen into what they're talking about. And they were going at it, and they stopped and went, "Is that guy in the year above still listening into this? Is he upstairs?"
And then you're like, did you think it was going to be bad or good?
Well,
were you thinking, here we go?
Well, no, I thought
here we go.
I was never scared about being rumbled because I wasn't in their dialogue.
No, but I mean, did you expect that they were going to start saying like, "Is he gone? He's so fit."
Maybe, but they said, "Oh yeah, is he the one in the year above with the weird nose?"
Nightmare, absolute nightmare.
So I went to the bathroom just before I came back into the class and just kind of looked in the mirror. Because it's such a, I'm quite, I've discussed some of my physical flaws. I do it on the podcast, but I've never had anyone said I had a weird nose, nor since. Yeah. And since then, I've just, every now and then I look at myself in the mirror like, maybe they were right.
I don't think you have a weird nose.
But everyone I bring it up to goes, no, you don't.
You don't have a weird nose.
But I would never believe them because of that
why
one
would they
story.
say it if it wasn't?
It droops. You know, it droops a bit down.
That's a nose. That's what a nose does.
Yeah, but this is what they've got me thinking.
Yeah, I know. I don't think. Comment below.
Please, honestly, please comment below. If we can get a discussion started of whether I have a weird nose or not, because I'd like some objective evidence to go off it.
I mean, I do ask people to comment below a lot, and it very rarely does anyone ever comment below. So I always do it because that's what professional podcasts do. They're like message and comment below, and then they'll discuss all the comments and all the rifle. We've had too many to talk through. I'll have like 3. And once again, my fan base, as I've said before, the fan base of the podcast, they're rabid animals, and
You essentially just get abused.
Yeah, it's just this weird, very strange relationship. I brought this up where people listen to the podcast, like the podcast, but don't like me, which is a very strange thing, seeing as primarily it's a solo podcast, which is just an odd thing to find me. And a perfect example of this is, so this guy called Ellis, who's a big listener of the podcast, and I owe him a lot, and I'm not going to slag him off, but this is a perfect example of the sort of
slander
shit I have to deal with.
It's because you come out very sincere, and then the person you're asking genuinely for engagement, and then you reply to the comments on it.
That's the good way to.
And then you're just meted with abuse.
Yeah. So here's an example of the kind of shit. This is what happens when most of your fans are like 12-year-olds on TikTok. Also, how often will this spin-off be posted? This was about the last episode I did with BB Cave. And that's a nice question.
How often you do it? I want more content.
Yeah.
Tell me how often it's going to be.
Not sure yet. How often would you like, Ellis?
He's engaged. He's engaged with it.
Then Ellis says, and this just sums it up, Horatio Gould, honestly, I don't know how much I trust your work ethic, so I wouldn't like to set a target. What the fuck? I did 5 podcasts a week. I did 20 podcasts in 28 days.
Because he's opening up to like, oh, how often are you going to do it? And then when you throw it back at him, he's like, well, I don't want my opinion because I don't want to give you too much work, and nor do I trust your ability.
He doesn't trust. It was
Maybe
more. It
Ellis
was a salty comment because I've taken. There's been moments where I burnt out because I did 20 podcasts in 28 days, and then I took like a week off. I said I was doing it. I took a month off. We took a month off to do this. I've taken long breaks off. So clearly, it's that weird mix between the dig is that I don't do enough podcasts. So he clearly likes the podcast and he wants them regularly. Yeah. But he does it in a way that it's like slagging me off. So he likes the content, but doesn't like me.
He's happy with the content, but angry at the frequency of the content.
Yeah. So
and he puts that down to your personality.
Yeah. So comment
being not
down
committed
below.
enough.
But to be honest, I like that. I like this very strange relationship. I don't. Every comedian, be it big or at my level, I've never seen anyone with fans as awful as mine.
Like and subscribe.
All right. So once again, as we are not only a men's mental health and physical health podcast, as we did actually, to be fair, we did discuss at the beginning, was about men's mental and physical health, about anxiety and appearance.
Nose anxiety.
Nose anxiety.
Because of some bitches in the year below who shake your self-confidence for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Horatia's got a weird nose. My problem, I think my main problem with this is that I have a normal nose. Yet I've been the one subject to derision about my nose. Yet this fucker over here with the tiniest stem of the nose, the bone of the nose, with the largest nostrils.
Huge nostrils. It's like having a tiny dick and massive balls.
It really is. So why don't whoever those girls were in the year below?
Why don't you start
slagging me off and talk about him? Message in the comments.
I do have it's like a sawn-off shotgun.
Yes, yeah, for maximum spray.
It's a snub-nosed pistol.
Oh.
Anyway, what's been happening in the news, Drew?
There's been a poisoning.
Cool. Right, that's the topic.
Anyway, about my bum. No.
Let's get back to the real shit.
No, so there is the breaking news story yesterday.
Yeah.
So what's today? Thursday, the 3rd of September. Yesterday being the 2nd of September.
Tomorrow.
Which will be released tomorrow. So the 4th. Date, say. So there was confirmation from German officials, health officials and public officials, that Navalny.
This is how far we got, really.
Essentially, was poisoned. Is confirmed. So he's not dead. He's not dead. He's in a fairly stable, but not that stable condition.
Okay, let's set this up differently.
Should we start that again?
No, we're not going to start it again. Instead, we're going to set this up as I'm going to pretend to be Sky News. You're going to be the guy on the scene. Breaking news just in. There has been another poisoning by Russia. The opposition leader, Navalny, he's been sent back to a flight to Berlin. He's currently in a coma. More news by our correspondent on the ground, Andrew Kerwin.
So here in Berlin, there has been a poisoning. It's a confirmed poisoning by German public health officials. He was tested. His system has been tested positive. His bodily system has been tested positive for Navalny. The man has been tested in his bloodstream. It is official, beyond doubt, that he was poisoned by Novichok, the nerve agent from the Novichok group.
Thank you.
Back to you in the studio. No, he basically was
opposition to Putin.
Opposition to Putin. He's been leading a lot of rallies and movements looking into corruption in Russian government. So that's basically aggression to Putin in the government. And then he was taken ill on a flight over Siberia. Fucks. Oh, Jesus
I don't know why I opened the news to you, but you carry on.
But we're still going.
To fly over Siberia.
Loosely true news story. But the problem before...
What's the problem?
Before we continue with this, the problem with this news story is that it's very unclear which words refer to people. Which words...
This has happened a lot. Russian poisoning. There's from Litvinenko, the Salisbury to Navalny.
There's a lot of Russian poisons to wrap your heads around.
That's
but with every single news story, because of the convoluted words that exist, you don't know which word is relating to a person, a place, or a poison.
Yeah, it's weird. Like Novichok, Amesbury, Salisbury, Navalny,
Skripal.
We don't know who's what. What's the poison? Nothing. Who's the person? Where's the place?
When looking up, doing research for this podcast, I looked up Salisbury because I thought initially that was the name of the agent who had been poisoned. And I was just greeted with a map of England.
The agent who had been poisoned, as opposed to the nerve agent, which is what the poison is.
But Russian agents use the nerve agent to poison the person.
Yeah, and the person. So It's a nerve agent, is the poison used by Russian agents to poison ex-Russian agent.
Maybe an ex-Russian agent. Well, because this guy's an agent.
No, this guy's an agent.
But Litvinenko?
Litvinenko's an agent. Salisbury, the guy was an ex-Russian agent,
Yeah.
and it gets investigated by British and German agents. There's too many agents.
How do you expect me to wrap my head around this?
So they've all been talking about Salisbury with the Salisbury one, and then they also sometimes use Amesbury, because apparently Salisbury is just the overall place. Amesbury
is where it
the place specifically is in Salisbury. And then Novichok, I thought.
Can you sum it up? Can you sum up all 3 poisons in one sentence?
All 3 poisons? Or
yeah.
One sentence?
Okay, just do 2 then.
Russian opposition leader Navalny was poisoned by Russian agents using the nerve agent Novichok
from the Novichok group.
From the Novichok group over Siberia. Now he's in coma in Berlin. This is linked to the previous poisoning of Sergei and Yulia Skripal in Amesbury, Salisbury, who were also poisoned by Novichok, the nerve agent from the Novichok group, who's not a person, it's the poison, which also, I think, links back to Litvinenko, who was poisoned. I think by...
The links are just because... That was very good, by the way. Congratulations. I am genuinely impressed.
Yeah.
But they're all linked in the sense that it's all Russian. The Russian power structure is poisoning any dissenters and anyone that's verbally against or criticizes the Russian government.
So what the interesting about this is that it's clear that... so the Litvinenko was poisoned by polonium-210.
True. He wasn't poisoned by Novichok from the nerve agent group.
And polonium-210, I like that because that's clearly the poison. It's the person's not called.
That's a real name for
that's
a poison.
real, not Novichok, who just sounds like a Russian dude.
Yeah, Novichok. It's way too vague. If you're going to poison someone, do it with the right nerve agent.
What I find interesting about this is that clearly, because I remember Litvinenko, that was when I was growing up, and this has been happening all over the place. If you look at Putin's whole reign and power, he's constantly putting down dissenters. Before, I just thought Russians are being idiots because it's so clear that it's them.
Yeah.
Like, it's why use the same nerve agent
that you did the last time.
And
both the Salisbury case and the Navalny case, both of them, it was put in their tea. They were both drinking tea.
So it's so clear, and I'm like, it's clearly that's Russian incompetence. But speaking to Russians and watching a documentary on it, apparently their viewing is like they fully want people to know it's them. That's the element that I don't think gets talked about in the media, is that the Russian government knows that we all know it's them, but they want you to know it's them because that's how it works. It needs to work as a deterrent. So they need to do it to the point where they can't be properly tried for it. It can't be properly linked back to them, but it's clear it's them because it sends out a message to the centres.
Well, but this is the interesting conversation about poisoning that we can have. I'm sure we will have right now.
Liquid podcasting.
Ooh, it's fire. But with poisoning, I think the whole point, historically, the whole point of poisoning is the fact that you're doing it covertly so that it can't be traced back to you in any way. Because it can be, the Russians have claimed that this was a metabolic disease or something to do with their diet.
The lack of confidence
it's just
you
dodgy.
have with any news. Metabolic. Novichok.
But it's they're almost blaming it on the tea. You know, they're just drinking the wrong cups of tea, essentially. But with poisoning, the whole point of poisoning is the fact that it is incognito. Yeah. It's something to kill someone off quietly. I would say that I don't think they're trying to claim credit for it. I don't think it's a thing where the Russians are going, oh, we want to poison this person to say we obviously did this for the international community to see.
Not for the international community.
I just think they don't care. It doesn't matter.
They just don't give a fuck.
It doesn't matter because people in Russia know this is happening. Everyone knows.
Yeah.
Because that's why the German government came out and said this is beyond doubt because they know what the Russian government are going to reply with, i.e. the metabolic thing.
They're just like, nah.
He had a bad tummy.
Yeah.
But the point is, they don't give a fuck. It doesn't matter because when you've got such corruption and such dictatorship with extreme power across all structures, you don't need to give a fuck.
Because it's the same thing as we talk about with Brexit. It's just like, it's fucked, but part of me deep down respects it. There's like an element
You gotta respect the hustle.
You gotta respect just the boldness to keep on doing it.
Yeah.
The amount of shit they went
Well, it's a real theme for our Boys Gone Wild.
Yeah, this is Putin, Russia is an ultimate country for Boys Gone Wild because they don't give a fuck. Like, the amount of shit they've been through with these last poisoning, the amount of media storm, the sanctions they're getting that are like economically strangling Russia. And they just keep doing it. They don't give a fuck. And they'll just deny it because we live in a post-truth world where it's not... It no longer saying something, the facts are there. All you have to say is, but where's the evidence?
Exactly.
You give the evidence.
Well, everything's in the story. So
yeah, so you'll go like, but where's the evidence? Even if the whole story is the evidence.
Exactly.
You just have to respond, there's no evidence.
Or
and then
it
people will
was
be
dietary.
like, it's a good point.
Or it's dietary. Facts and evidence are created within the media cycle and the media stories. It's this person, the German government says, beyond doubt, this happened. The Russian government says, nah, he had a dodgy foot and he had a dodgy tummy.
Sure.
We'll go back to Tommy.
Such a poor report.
Today the Russian government have come out and said he had a bad foot. Doesn't make much sense, but
back to you in the studio.
But again, the only truth we have in political discourse is in the way in which stories are created, the way in which you counter it. It's a narrative, counter-narrative, and there's some sort of synthesis in between the two.
Sure.
And whatever's the dominant one, whatever captures the minds and hearts and imagination of the people, will be the one that sticks. The interesting thing about people who ardently defend conspiracy theories is that they believe in something so blindly, but they're also against people believing things blindly.
Yeah.
So they're against the idea that they believe that everyone in the public is being so duped, and there's such a clear reasoning behind that, and you should see the light, whilst believing in a covert idea that has absolutely no grounding in evidence or rationality itself. Mm-hmm. So it's two heads just butting against each other, because with conspiracy theories, a lot of it is we can't sit here and claim and show or prove that they're not true. Mm-hmm. That's the thing. That's why conspiracy theories capture the imagination, because it could be happening.
But we can.
No, we can't.
Flat Earth.
Flat Earth, yeah, again, but then if you go deep enough into flat Earth, something like flat Earth theory is that you problematize the pictures that we got from space.
This is what I mean.
Have we ever been to the moon?
The point,
it's infinite
what I'm
regression.
saying is that we can prove it, but that no longer means anything.
But
that's the change.
The whole point, that's the nub of conspiracy theories, is have you seen it for yourself? Have you seen that the Earth isn't flat for yourself?
But if we took a flat earther up in a rocket to show him,
exactly,
they wouldn't believe that.
100%. But the point is, if you haven't seen it for yourself, you then believe in power structures that are telling you things to be true. So they problematize those power structures and say they're lying to us. And you can't, as in for flat Earth, we can't absolutely say that not to be true.
Yeah, it's 50-50.
I wouldn't say 50-50, but we cannot say that is not a fact.
Yeah.
Because we haven't seen it for ourselves. And we have to believe pictures that we see from the government that it's not.
And it's using the genuine, the problem with the rise of ridiculous conspiracy theories, often taken by the right, is that genuine comments against establishment by progressive, genuine big banking, interests, capitalism, all of that, it now gets lumped in with the same thing as conspiracy theories.
Yeah,
because you're using the same argument. The media is lying. The media is constructing narrative. Yada yada yada. But that's the same thing that flat earthers would use to say that the Earth's fucking flat.
The biggest problem with conspiracy theories is that they distract everyone from the main conspiracy theory, which is capitalism.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for. But that's true, because it's the same critical revolutionary mindset, but it's just put into like Trump. Although Hillary Clinton has sex with children, which is like, why don't we focus on something that is definitely happening, that's definitely...
Yeah, like Hillary Clinton has so much shit that she's definitely done that's awful.
Does she fuck kids, though?
But why make it that? And it's almost like it works in Hillary Clinton's flavour.
It does.
Flavor.
She's a flavoursome lady.
To have this ridiculous thing. But I think Boys Gone Wild, we're slowly working out what it is. It's a mental and physical health podcast. It's a topical podcast, but also it's trying to ride as opposed to go against and fight the post-truth wave. I want to ride it.
Oh, absolutely. Embrace it.
Because this is why
we create our own truth.
It's terrifying existing at the moment. The world's madder than it has been for maybe ever. I don't know a time, probably since Second World War, that the world's been this mental. Even then, it wasn't as weird.
Cold War.
It's just...
When everyone was just convinced of the fact that we were just going to be bombed at one point.
Yeah.
And the entire world would go to... Everyone, my problem is everyone thinks that their time is the most mental.
We did not think that in the noughties. We did not think that in the 90s.
No, not...
We did not think
yeah,
that.
but it's like generationally. So a lot of our parents lived through the Cold War, or some of it.
Yeah.
And that was kind of...
No, but
maybe more nuts.
I speak to my parents, they said this is much madder.
They do.
Genuinely. Because I think it's just the culmination of the internet makes things weird. Cold War, though there's a lot of weird stuff going on, it was very paranoid.
It's tangible.
It's tangible. Now, because the internet is so fragmented, I don't think truth was so...
Oh, God, truth. No, yeah. Truth's never been in a more diabolical state.
This is why Boys Gone Wild we are not bastions of truth fighting to bring back normality. We are merely on the cart of post-truth. We're riding that wave, and you're here for the ride, you know?
And we're perpetuating the problem.
You know, and even the relationship I have with fans like Ellis, you know, who...
There's no such thing as a fan anymore.
Yeah,
They've all got to be self-reflexive.
Yeah. They likes the podcast, doesn't like me. You know, that's the perfect post-truth.
It really is.
That's modern fandom.
Have we got any more in Russia?
We could talk about me in Russia.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you want to?
Russia. Yeah. Hold on. So where did you say post-truth?
Yeah.
Post-truth. But hearing the way that you talk about Russians and the admiration that you have for how Russia do things, as in not giving a fuck.
I really do. Yeah.
Do you think a lot of that is the reason why you're so obsessed with Eastern European women?
Yeah, I have a weird. I didn't think I had a type, but I seem to often be attracted to like Eastern European / Nordic women.
Tall, harsh, mean, blonde women.
Yes.
Honestly, there was every time we had an estate agent show us around the house once, and she had to come in on her day off, and she was so unhappy about it. She hated it, and she was horrible to us. She was from Eastern Europe. She was blonde. And it was awkward walking around the house. And then just in one room, I looked at her, Hiroshi, went, you fancy her a lot, don't you?
Yeah, I don't know. I really like that Russian attitude. Because I've been to Russia. I went to Moscow and St. Petersburg. And what is interesting about Russians, which is different from the UK, is that in Russia, you're expected to only show how you're feeling.
Yeah.
So someone working in a shop in Russia, if they woke up and they feel miserable about their job, it's socially acceptable to be horrible to people because that's authentic.
Well, it's even more. That happens across mainland Europe as well. It's mostly just us who are so stooped in our own ideas of politeness and withdrawn emotions from normal society that it's quite a clusterfuck to experience.
I see. Before I used to think British culture and society were too like rigid and polite, but traveling around the world, I find I like the British politeness. I've learned that that's actually something I quite like because it's not inauthentic because it's so scripted. It's almost like for example, if you go to America, you go into a shop assistant will be like, I hope you have a great day, and like pretend they love you.
Sickly sweet,
but their implication is not just they're polite, they genuinely care about you.
Yeah, that's the problem.
I don't like that.
That's the problem.
In Britain,
Falseness.
There's a politeness that helps society move. So there's just a general after you, just a thing to make sure there's as little conflict as possible. But it's doesn't have the implication that person genuinely cares about you. You're right, mate. It's not. I think we are friends.
It's
I like
acknowledging that we're both human beings.
Yeah, I like that.
I agree. I think we should separate that polite, like general, minute polite society from England's and the UK's lack of ability to process and show emotion.
For sure.
Different. But that's true because in Berlin, I kind of hate Berlin. I've never had a good time there. I don't get let into any clubs, even though I really like music.
You really like it?
I really like music, but they don't let me in. They just look you stand in a queue. I remember we went to one club where we me and my ex-girlfriend were very happy. We were so excited to see the music. We got to see the specific DJ. We got all of the people we were with to go to this event. We traveled for about 45 minutes to get there. They were in front of us. You have to go in at like as separate groups because they don't like that. They don't like a big group. Yeah. And then we're waiting in the queue for about, honestly, an hour. It was raining. We then all of our friends then get in front of us, get in, because we were kind of like the people who were definitely going to get in, because we like the music. And you have to. So what they do in German bouncers, what they do is they ask you how many people you're with, and they get you to say it in German.
Well, you know,
I know German.
We did German GCSE together.
Honestly, so then there was two of us. So I went, zwei.
Nice.
And he went, not today, guys. And they just literally look you up and down and go, not today, guys. And then you walk away. So all of our friends who we told them about the event who didn't know the DJ got in, and we had to go home in the rain.
Just you two?
Just us two. We had to go home in the rain.
That is brutal.
And that's just the whole clubbing scene of Germany, which is...
You can't judge German society of Berlin. Cause it's
No, absolutely not. But there's the same thing. So in Berlin as well, when you're going into a shop, as you were saying about the politeness of society, whenever you go into a shop in Berlin and you get your thing. You walk in and say, hi, mate. Because if it's a small shop, no reply. You then get whatever you're buying, put it on the counter, and then it's just at the end of it, cheers, mate, have a good day. They just stand there in silence. They say nothing. And I persisted on doing it every time I went into a shop. Have a good day, mate. Cheers. Thanks, pal.
Yeah, nothing.
They just look at you.
Yeah.
Like that. And I hate that. I need a bit of human interaction of, you're a human, I'm a human. Let's call the whole thing quits.
Yeah, that's something that we do shit on England a lot, but that's something I do genuinely like.
The cheers, pal. Cheers, buddy.
The cheers, pal. You're right, mate.
The amount of things you can call another person.
You're right, yeah.
Pal, buddy,
Geezer.
bro.
You know? We've run out of...
we've run out. But there's several more.
Yeah.
Comment below.
But you were saying about emotional repression in England, and it's definitely bad for a lot of British people's mental health, but I think it's so entrenched in me that I do genuinely find emotionally unrepressed people quite frustrating and annoying.
It's really good you acknowledge that.
What? Yeah,
because it's so true.
I do. I think it's probably because it's that British stoicism is. But
it's not a frustration.
But it's a frustration. But
you can't do the same.
It feels it's not that. It feels like a genuine. Sometimes I feel like Mark from who's from Peep Show. Is it Mark?
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like Mark from Peep Show sometimes.
We all do.
But it's not me saying, God, I wish I could open up. It's me genuinely thinking, just pull yourself together. Pull yourself together, woman.
Well, that's the whole English pull up your socks.
Yeah, it's not.
But the whole point of pull up your socks and get on with your day is about work. It's about the fact that we don't bring emotions and socialness into our work that we do. The way that society runs.
I think there's something different there because Germany are much more efficient and work orientated.
But they've got a different culture surrounding their work. No, the hatred that you have for people that are too open with their emotions, and you're saying pull it together. The Russians and the Eastern Europeans do it exactly how you want to do it.
Yeah, that's how I like it.
They're open with it, but they don't fuck about with it.
Yeah, so they're open because they'll tell you how they feel, but how they feel is repressed.
Their socks are constantly pulled up. Yeah. But they're letting shit loose.
It's authentic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I like aggressively emotional women. Absolutely.
Yeah,
I want to go the other way. I want to be dragged out into
you want a woman who's going to ruin your life emotionally. And because you're not super emotional. You're quite English and repressed as well.
I am.
But you like having someone.
But I want to get better. I want someone to drag me out of the English mud.
I want someone who's not tedious as fuck. Okay, and now we're heading into the questions part of the show. This will become a Patreon privilege.
Not a right.
Not a right. This will become a Patreon privilege, not a right. So only Patreon members. But we don't have enough Patreon members yet. Only 6.
Horatio's starving. He can't eat.
We need to subscribe to the Patreon. We're going to put a lot more stuff on there. And
when I saw him rummaging around the bins outside last night.
Looking for Patreon subscribers.
Oh! You're not going to find any in there.
But so instead, I've got some questions from people on Instagram, which we'll probably do.
But the whole point is that if you subscribe to Patreon, you'll have the benefit of asking questions and having them answered directly. So we might do one or two on the main one for an episode. But at the end of the day, you got to if you ain't paying that $1, you ain't gonna get that sweet content. Okay, so first question's by Stinky_Trump. He says, "How big is pee-pee?" Just disregard it. Yeah.
Okay, but I'm just saying this is another fan who I don't know, but it's just a fan of the podcast. I think it's come from TikTok, and this sort of sums it up.
7-year-olds at a leisure centre having a pizza and pool party.
His profile picture is of Bob Odenkirk, and the question, without a question mark, is how big is PP? Which I think is talking about how big.
Bob Odenkirk?
Yeah. So I think the question is, how big is your knob? You got a chonker.
You got it. It's a chonker.
Right, moving on to the next question. Which one of you chaps is the bigger white supremacist? This is a good question.
It's definitely you, without a doubt.
Probably me, because I look more like one, and I definitely feel
you look more Aryan, but you also have aggressively racially insensitive politics.
Yeah, it's true. I also think white is right, so that's probably.
Whereas I don't.
That's probably So I'm the big white
supremacist.
Yeah, cool. We're rattling through these questions a lot more.
Bish bash.
What's your favourite way to be cuckolded?
Oh,
if you were going to be cuckolded,
God, the list is endless.
Because you're dressing a bit cuckoldy.
It's kind of like sexy golf dad.
Yeah, I do.
And I'm rolling with it.
Yeah,
I'm liking it.
You could wear that while watching your wife getting fucked by a 6'5" Brazilian.
If I do the button.
Yeah, you could do. Oh, do you guys want any tea or condoms?
Do you need any lube or is everything okay?
Do you have any favourite way that you'd want to get cuckolded?
Be gentle with it. Oh no, it's fine. Sorry. Oh God, cuckolding is a very broad spectrum, isn't it? It's because it's within the bedroom as much as it is on a day-to-day life. Because you have some people living as cuckolds permanently.
Yeah.
Which sounds terrifying to me. Favourite way to be cuckolded? So I'd like to see a man fucking my girlfriend.
Wife. Let's make it wife.
Let's make it wife. So I'm in a straitjacket.
Sure.
So I really can't move.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. Mm-hmm. And then I've got another cuckold next to me who's feeding me tea. Just giving me a bit of tea every now and again. And a spank on the bum. Yeah. Because I am a naughty boy.
Yeah.
Whilst the man fucks my wife. It has to be in your own bedroom.
Yeah, definitely.
It has to be
wearing your clothes on your stuff and like.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. Well. Yeah. Wearing my clothes, but he keeps every time he penetrates her a bit, he just rips a bit of my clothing off. Yeah. As in destroying.
Until you become free and there's nothing you can do about it.
Exactly.
Nice. Okay.
What about you? Do you want to...
My favourite cuckold, I think it would be threesome. She's really nervous about it. I'm the one pushing for it. I think it'd be great. It turns out to be with another guy, which I'm,
he's open to.
I'm not open to it. I'm really excited about it. My wife is a bit... kind of, and then it gets going. He's the opposite of me. He's like this kind of Latino, gorgeous, like long hair, chiseled face.
Believes in racial equality.
Believes in racial equality. Emotionally open, and then he starts pounding on her, and he's just doing a great job. She's having the best sex of her life, and then I keep trying to get involved. It's not like an organized.
Do you mind if I just?
Yeah, and I'm just constantly attempting to grab.
Bits,
and then before you know it, I'm getting my hands battered away.
Yeah. That's a good one.
I'm gonna go now, saying it, and there's just nothing. That's how
slamming the door, but then just hearing
hello,
the sex
sounds. I'm leaving.
I'm not having fun anymore.
Yeah, that's how my favorite way to get cuckolded. And then last question from our good friend Michael Haddad. How would the orc in Lord of the Rings, who says "Looks like meat's back on the menu, boys," have any concept of what a menu is? Do you know what that moment in the film is? I'll get a clip of it now.
Looks like meat's back on the menu, boys.
As with any question from Michael Haddad, what it essentially is a statement to show a hot take in the guise of a question where he cares about other people's opinion.
Nice.
So there's no answer. It is a good point about the film.
No, I think we can go into it.
I don't think we can.
The orc in Lord of the Rings, he says.
How do they look at a concept of a menu? I mean, it's just a good point.
Yeah, there's no
answer to it.
Okay, great. That now we've come to the end of. Well, actually, one more if you're interested.
We'll do one more cue. Let's get.
Should Mel Gibson still be hired to make movies?
How long have we got?
We're running out of time.
No.
Cool. That's the question section. So for more fiery questions, I will be asking next week for questions again. But once the Patreon reaches a certain level, it will become Patreon exclusive. We have reached the end of the show, and as is tradition, I'd like you to end it with some final statements. Try and end this. We talked about a lot of things. It was at times it was quite serious. We discussed many ideas, quick fire. We saw a different side to Andrew, which is him. The fact that when he's not hungover and drunk, he's actually even worse in many ways. He's more unbearable.
Absolutely.
Instead of being chilled, laid back, and incompetent, he's now constantly talking about capitalism very sincerely.
Lesser of two evils. I don't know.
We're trying to work it out.
Hence the alcoholism.
Yeah.
What did we talk about initially?
We talked about aging, appearance, Russia, conspiracy theories, capitalism, Mel Gibson, cuckold. So try and sum it up into a nugget of wisdom that they'll be able to take away with them.
Age is but a number.
Nice, that's a good start.
But when it shows on the face, sometimes you could be worried about your nose.
Mm-hmm.
And a way to cope with that would be to poison dissenting views.
Mm-hmm.
But instead of doing that, we should focus on the problems of capitalism, put ourselves in a straitjacket, and let another man fuck your wife.